Alright guys, so we are back for another Shichiga summon. So we just came back from a little bit of week. So as far as Shichiga summon, that's kind of like a basic idea of like probably not. But they actually tossed in a fairly juicy unit. We have the Zeta Gundam with the Hyper Mega Launcher. So this is actually one of the more recently released unit, or not really recently released unit. Recently recipient of the Transcendent skill. On JP, I believe probably the last two patch. They actually gave this unit a Transcendent skill. So yeah, if you guys do want to go for this unit, I would not even be opposed to that because it is actually pretty decent in that sense. So if you guys do want to go for it, it's actually not that bad. It's definitely a little bit more reminiscent to the limited yellow Zeta in a sense, because there are a lot of opportunities for this unit to actually just gain EXQ gauge with the help of the Transcendent skill obviously, and then just the EX skill itself, you are getting up to a 50% EXQ gauge recover whenever you pop EX skill. So that's actually quite the bonker for sure. But we are talking about EX skill level 5, so I do assume when you do start out, I think it's somewhere around 30 or 25%, so it's actually just a really low digit. So you definitely like, this is definitely going to be a heavy investment unit if you want to get up to the point where it's relatively comparable to the yellow Zeta. But obviously this is a bombardment while the yellow one is a generic, so they're both playing a different type of game in a way. But we'll skip the Transcendent skill first. We'll just take a look at the skill 1 and skill 2 first, and then we will go back there. So when battle begins for 60 seconds, increase EX skill gauge recovery by 64%. So this is definitely screaming the yellow Zeta for sure. So me personally, I do have it in JP, so I was able to try out how fast we were able to recover the EXQ gauge in a normal rotation. I would definitely say it's fast, but there were some instances where I feel like this unit is just not hitting. So my best timer for this one is actually somewhere around 10 seconds. 10 seconds for me was probably the earliest, or one of the, no, I shouldn't say the earliest one. It's more like an average, right? The fastest you can probably activate, maybe looking at 7 to 8 seconds. You do have Zeta just not freeze and not attack. So I think roughly about 7 or 10 seconds is on the average. So that's actually really good, because if you consider just a normal units without any of the prerequisite or give you the recovery or whatever, like this is actually fairly nice, right? On a typical basis, most unit takes around 20 seconds, while this one would take roughly about a good solid 10 seconds for the EXQ gauge to recover. So that's actually a fairly good amount. So as you do continue to cycle through, you are able to get this back. So for the first minutes, you should be able to, you know, land a lot of EXQ. So this is definitely, you can say it's good for arena as well. So this is actually good for all content if you think about it. So that's actually pretty good. The skill 2 is just going to be your generic, where you are gaining up to double 48% when you have above 100 HP. So that's pretty generalized for any of these bombard units. So that's actually just quite good. As far as the actual weapon themselves, the main weapon and third weapon are getting the double S plus, and then the third weapon is getting the triple S minus. So that's actually quite powerful. And then given the fact that we have a level increase, so this is definitely why the power went up, you know, a notch in a way. So as we do progress in terms of our level, like the power modifier are just going to be something we don't really have to look at anymore, because eventually everything will be in the triple S anyway. So it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But when we go back to the Transcendent skill, man, this is where things gonna get crazy. You get accuracy, you get increased beam damage, restore EXQ by 50%. Okay, and then whenever EXQ is activated, increase critical rate by 50, and then last but not least, increase the damage cap by 200,000. Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty like normal stuff for JP. Like when I see things nowadays, yeah, that's typically what you get. They definitely slap a line of like a max damage increase by that much on either skill 1 or skill 2. So Yeah, this is definitely a way for them to make justice for the unit to be better, but I will definitely say throughout my time using it, you guys probably seen this in a few videos before. I do find this unit to be inconsistent in a way. Like it I don't know. It just doesn't perform as good as some of the other bombardment in a way. Granted, I personally don't have the actual Kamille that works with this pilot or works with this unit, so my testing is definitely a little bit more skewed towards not favoring this unit. But I don't know. I overall I do feel like this unit was not in good hands when I tried out, so I just kind of like But given the fact that we do have the early Transcendent skill for this unit, I think it's definitely worthwhile for a global player to go for it if you do want another iteration of a more powerful bombardment. The other one, no, we don't really have a bombardment for purple. No, we don't. Because the other two that we gotten was actually Sasaki, which is a sniper, and then Zaka one with a big gun. If I'm recalling correctly, so those are our only two thus far. So I'm gonna do my quick summoning now. So hopefully we can get something. I don't know, man. Should we skip or should we not skip? But as far as the pilot, which we'll go over in just a little bit. For Kamille, Kamille is one of those pilots you are getting a massive percentage at the beginning of the battle, and then it fizzles out. So I think it's safe to say is probably, I don't know. It's probably not worth it because we do obviously have better options that will probably work better, right? So for Kamille, for the first 30 seconds is getting a whopping 200 or whoa, that would be insane, but 128%. So that's obviously pretty powerful just for any purple range orange unit out there. But we have we have Amro, the one that works for, I believe, his rank DJ, if I recall correctly. That one actually stacks the range sense by up to 150 or 210. So I would definitely prefer that armor, given the fact that you can stack. So I would definitely say this one might look pretty impressive at the beginning of the first 30 seconds, right? Even within the 1 minute towel, but anything past that, no. Like, this palette is definitely gonna fizzle out just a little bit. Even with the scale 2, I don't think it's worth all that much, right? You are getting an increased accuracy for the first 30 seconds, and then whenever allies are defeated, you are gaining another 15% accuracy, and then range sense increased by 57 when activating EX skill, and then whenever allies defeated, increase critical rate by 19%. So yeah, that's gonna be something I don't like because you rely on that ally. It definitely fits the schematics in a way, because obviously throughout Zeta we have close personal friends with Kamille die, for example, or his acquaintance dies, and then he gets some of those new type powers, obviously. So I know why they went that direction, but as far as the game concept why, no, I really don't think it's that beneficial for that unit, because most of the time you're not really benefiting from the full effects of this palette. So that's why I do kind of feel like it's not that great. Alright, so that's why I think for Kamille it's probably going to be a skip. So if you guys do have some other better purple orange palette that's for range, I think definitely go for that. As far as Kamille, I mean, like, nah, probably not. So I think Zeta is probably a good option, and then for Kamille it's definitely a no-go. But other than that, that is going to be pretty much it. So I think later down this week I'll definitely go ahead and try things out for you guys in JP, just to give you guys an impression of how it is on as far as looking at it without any transcendent skill, no potential leash, so you guys can see it at its bare bone, and then at that point of time you guys can make a decision whether or not you guys do want to summon or not.